Hello everyone, and welcome to my review for Jujutsu Kaisen Chapter 210. As always, if you haven't already, definitely sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you don't miss any future Jujutsu Kaisen uploads. I'd like to try and hit at least 100 likes on this week's review. Now then, without any further delay, let's get right down to business. This chapter is weird. It has composite parts that I like. I suppose in a vacuum, I like the things in this chapter. But the way they're put together is not the best. First thing, really, honest to God, this does not feel like a chapter that you release when you plan on ending your series within a year. So again, Gege has no concept of the passage of time. This isn't a filler chapter per se. It's just not like a super important chapter. It's not like anything really big and crazy happens in it. It's not really fast-paced stuff. It doesn't feel like something that you release when there's 40 chapters left in your series, you know? I mean, even short series. You go and you look at like Demon Slayer. What the fuck was going on in like the last 40 chapters? Oh, like a whole bunch of shit was happening. Just so much was happening. That's not what's going on right now. This is like a normal character focused chapter, and not like a super huge one, theoretically. Or at least it doesn't feel like one. Maybe it was meant to be more one, but it didn't really turn out that way because it's just structured so incoherently. But yeah, this is not an I'm ending in a year chapter. So again, I don't know what the hell Gege's on. But as I've mentioned a couple times, the way this chapter is formatted is so bizarre. Like, it just keeps flashing around to a whole bunch of stuff. I guess there's like technically 3 different things going on at the same time. You have Hana's backstory, you have Yuji, Megumi, and Angel, and I guess Takaba, talking to a guide for the US soldiers that they captured. And then you have Angel doing stuff in the presumably present or recent past, I don't know. But it's all just kind of like interspliced together without any like real apparent structure. I think I can kind of get what Gege was going for here, because the stuff that's in Angel's backstory, I feel like it's kind of meant to seem like it's in the present. But then you go back and look at it and you're just like, these things don't really have anything to do with each other. Other than, I guess it's like, oh, you know, Hana used to be captive to and at the mercy of a cursed spirit, and now she's able to save normal people from cursed spirits. Like, oh, I guess. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that. That works, I suppose. But I don't really see how that messes. Like, I don't see how that meshes with the rest of the chapter, which then has Yuji character stuff. And as you guys know, I love Yuji character stuff. Pure Yuji character stuff has basically been some of the best things we've gotten post Shibuya. So I like that we're getting that. But the way that it's done sort of feels a bit tacked on, in a way. First, let me try to do this in a semi-organized fashion, unlike this chapter. Let's talk about Angel. So, Hana's backstory is as a child, she was taken captive by a curse that was trying to raise a bunch of children it had just found and was basically keeping captive. And whenever one of them would try to run away, it would presumably kill them, maybe eat them. Who knows what it was making that soup and stuff out of. But she eventually escaped after being led away by Divine Dog, and that was how she originally met Megumi. I guess that's what their history is. I don't remember if there was indication if Megumi remembered Hana's interaction with him in the past. She obviously remembers him. This does raise the question, though. Why did Gojo leave a dirty and disheveled child wearing rags basically at a bus station? Gojo is not exactly a person I'd expect to be influenced by the bystander effect. Oh, and we got our mandatory annual Gojo appearance. So, Gojo shows up in this chapter. Maybe that's why it feels kind of phoned in. As Gege's like, fuck, I have to do a Gojo chapter. God damn it. Maybe that's what it is. Who knows? It's kind of a weird thing to do. Feels a little out of character. It's really weird when any character does that. This feels like a thing that happens not infrequently in a lot of stories. You guys remember The Boxer, that webtoon that I definitely finished reading for the Patreon? Yeah. Isn't it fucking weird how Jay just kind of leaves you sitting around? I mean, you could leave it up to your interpretation, what he did. You could leave it up to your imagination. You could maybe assume that he called the police or something, or he fucking, I don't know, took him to the fire station or to a hospital, but they don't show it. They don't show it, and they never reference them ever doing that. So they leave it ambiguous when it really feels like something that shouldn't be ambiguous. It's so bizarre. It's so strange. So that's weird. And I guess that inspired her to, try and save people. Which is Megumi's general motivation. That's fine, I guess. Considering she was able to see curses and see Divine Dog, either she could have been a sorcerer on her own or she was a window. So she was a non-sorcerer that's able to see curses, though we do know that humans are able to see them in near-death scenarios. I guess that would also apply to Shikigami, but we don't really have any information on what exactly Hana was doing in the time between the age of 5 or 6 and the present. We just have no information on that, so can't really say for certain. And then, in the present, she's saving dudes and stuff. Then we get into the Yuji character developments, I suppose you could call them that. In that they have deduced that regardless of whether or not all of the soldiers in Tokyo Colony number 1 get killed or not, the actions of Higuruma and Kashimo in Tokyo Colony number 2 have already pretty much filled up the colonies with cursed energy, so they can't really prevent the progression of Kenjaku's plans within their colonies. So Angel, not Hana, Angel says, oh yeah, there's no point in saving them. There's no need to. If they die, or if they don't die, it doesn't change the state that the colony's in. And Yuji, being a normal person possessed of, empathy and shit, is okay, and I don't care. Why should I care if these people living or dying has an impact on the culling game? They're people. I'm gonna save them. And kind of ends up shit-talking Angel and says, I've never trusted you people. I don't have any intention of ever trusting you. And, that kind of causes a little bit of tension between them. But that's a good character moment from Yuji, basically being miss me with your psychopath shit. I'm still here to try and help people. As you can imagine, Megumi, who tries to set aside emotion a lot and do the logical thing, because Megumi's an intelligent person, pretty much tells Yuji, hey, that was kind of an out-of-character outburst for you, and is not very helpful for cooperation. What the hell are you doing? And Yuji says, oh, the way that you were kind of talking with Hana there, being all diplomatic with her, trying to be friends with her and everything, kind of made me feel like she was going to end up replacing Nobara as, the girl in our friend trio, and the idea of replacing her scared me. Now, here's the deal. This is the moment in the chapter that I think I've had the most change and conflict on when it comes to my opinion of it. Because, first off, we brought this up in the Hot Takes video. Nobara has not been brought up enough. We have barely addressed her existence, despite the fact that she was one of Yuji's best friends. You would think Yuji, being Yuji, would focus on the apparent death of one of his best friends right before his very eyes, you would focus on that a lot more. It would be almost like Nanami's death, honestly, if not worse. And yet it hasn't been focused on really at all. Not really at all, I don't think. Post-Shibuya, haven't really focused on it one bit. We've got Nanami being quoted. He's recalled the death of Nanami, which, I am Nanami's strongest soldier. I am the world's #1 Nanami stan. So I'm happy with that. And he focuses on all of those innocent people getting killed by Sukuna. That's also good. That was the best stuff we got in 2020, in my personal opinion. Wait, was that 2021? Oh, that was 2021. Oh, God. My perception of time has been horribly ruined by COVID. Anyway, but the Nobara situation has not really been harped upon at all. It's probably because Gege's been trying to mentally fuck with us. Basically, Schrodinger's supporting female character. He's been trolling us a little bit. The way they talk about her in this chapter seems to lead further credence to her being dead. Negumi says, of course that wouldn't happen, don't be stupid. Maybe you could interpret that as Megumi being like, don't think that, that's dumb, because she's alive. Maybe you could construe it to be that way, but doesn't really feel like the implication of it. Where am I going with this? Yeah, this is fine. I like that Yuji is thinking about that. He doesn't want to replace Nobara. He doesn't want her death to be something that's just glossed over. It's like, well, we've lost the girl of the group. Time to get a new one. That's great. Here's the issue, though. It kind of just comes out of nowhere. It kind of feels like a big leap in logic. It almost feels like it's just so that Gege can go, hey, Nobara mentioned for the first time in 2 years. Yeah. Alright, I guess. But it's kind of weak sauce. I feel like it could have been done a lot better. I'm not Gege himself, so I can't exactly say how it could be done better. Maybe build into it a little more. Maybe have Nobara actually be mentioned and talk about how her death weighs on Yuji a little bit more post-Shibuya, other than just never talking about her at all, and then just bringing her up now. That was probably some better ways to do it, or, put it in a more coherently organized chapter. That's also an option, I suppose. And then you just have Takaba doing a comic relief, stealing the final panel of the chapter. Credit to him. He has fourth wall-breaking powers. The man's disgusting. But then that's kind of another problem, because now we're getting, really inconsistent tone. Because, a lot of the Angel stuff this chapter is, kind of heavier, and obviously talking about a dead friend being replaced is pretty heavy stuff, and then Takaba just shows up, and it kind of kills the tone. Which, you want a bit of comedic relief, I don't mind that, but this chapter just feels inconsistent in almost every single regard, and that's not great. Now, I'm not about to worry that this is going to become the standard for every Jujutsu chapter from here on out, because, well, it's one chapter out of 210. Now, maybe if we get into the next few chapters and they all just feel like kind of rushed messes, I'm gonna be like, whoa, hey, Gege, what are you doing here? Can you chill out for a second? Can we talk about this? Please put the gun down, Then I'll get worried. But in the meantime, we'll just say that he, I don't know, he was drunk this week or something. He was just kind of throwing this shit together. He was like, whatever. I don't know. But yeah, kind of a weird chapter this week. I don't know if I would say it's bad, but I wouldn't say it's good either. It is a chapter. You can make the argument that it is indeed a chapter, that some things arguably happen in. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my review for this week's chapter. That's my final score. I don't know, out of 10. It's a big shoulder shrug of a chapter. Hopefully next week will be better. Assuming we get a chapter next week. I don't know if Jump's on break again or something. I know Jump breaks at the start of the year are kind of a mess. So I have no idea what the schedule is. But with that, that's all I've got for this week's review. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click that notification bell so you don't miss any of my uploads. I do Jujutsu Kaisen chapter reactions and reviews every week that we get a new chapter. If you enjoy discussing Jujutsu Kaisen with other people, or you just enjoy the content I produce on this channel, I highly suggest you check out my Discord server. I have a link to that down in the description. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys around. Take care.